I now have the pleasure to introduce you to Julia Borggräfe. Julia Borggräfe is an HR expert, worked for 9 years at Daimler, for 4 years at Messe Berlin, and after some years of consultancy, she works now since 2018 as the Director General Digitalization and Work at the Federal Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs in Berlin. This ministry was the first one in Germany which booked a design thinking student project at the HPI School of Design Thinking. I couldn't believe it. It was in 2015. The minister at that time, Andrea Nahles, got so excited about design thinking that more trainings were booked for department heads, and a design thinking space even got installed at the ministry. Julia Borggräfe will share now how she how she was further developing this small innovative plant in the recent years. Please welcome Julia Borggräfe with her talk about reimagining work at the Federal Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. Please welcome Julia.
Thank you, Uli, for the very nice marketing introduction with respect to design thinking. And I hope I'm going to meet your expectations. I also brought some thoughts with me, and now trying to share my screen. Does it work? Do you see my slides? Okay, perfect. So what did we do, or what did we try at the Federal Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs? Well, let me start with some words about why we do this, because our world of work, and I don't have to tell this to this group here probably, it's in a really huge transformation process. It's about globalization, it's about digitalization, it's about change of urbanization, and this is something we will monitor very closely, because I think also there's a huge change in the trend that we saw due to the Corona crisis. We have 5 active generations at the moment in the workforces, which is a huge challenge for the question of culture in organizations. We see very actual topic, crisis and war all over the world, with immediate influence on us, and also in Germany. And we have a huge issue about demographics if we talk about skilled people, and the millions of workforce that we will miss due to demographics. We have many trends that are at the moment influencing factors to our world of work, and this is why we also said in our ministry we have to change the way that we work. We see, and I don't want to go too much into detail here, we see also a huge change of organizations, and I think this is something Uli can even talk better than me about this. If you look to the left picture, we have a very stable, very classic organization, and I think I don't talk about a secret when I say we as a ministry are still close to the left side than being a totally agile organization. But we are moving, at least in pieces, into this direction. And if we look from an HR perspective to what this means to people and to culture, I think we can all together consider this is a huge transformation that we don't only see from a meta perspective, but also really in the organizations from an organizational and skill perspective. So what did we do? We try to implement an organization inside, not as a think tank outside, what many other organizations or even ministries tried, but we did it inside within my department. So this is one piece of the department, the Denkfabrik. And we try to establish a kind of mixture of think tank and lab, because it's on the one side, it's about structure, but on the other side, it's about processes and the way how we work. I will tell about the single pieces later a little bit. So this is a picture of some of our colleagues working in the Denkfabrik. And this I brought you this picture not to say we are really a cool team, what of course we are, but the room is totally different. So it starts with a feeling of the way how we work. And if you come into the room of the Denkfabrik, it's already too small to contain all the people working in the Denkfabrik. It's now around about 40 people. But we started with this quite small team in this room. And as I said, already this room is totally different. It's a kind of agile style, which is somehow different from the other office rooms you might see in the ministry. We tried to re-establish a process that usually says we shape the process inside the ministry and then we exchange information of positions. And so we added a first step, which is contribute ideas. And then shape the process. And the step of contribute ideas, it's so important because this is already our connection to the outside. And the step of participation that you see on the right hand also means that we used different formats which are quite close to the agile formats of design thinking that you might know. So as I said, we have a kind of mixture of a think tank and a lab. It's a think tank because we do observation and analysis of technology and social trends. For example, we are responsible in the Denkfabrik for one part of the AI strategy of the government. And we also define a new strategic fields of action for the ministry. We do policy briefs or proposals for action. And we establish at the moment, for example, a strategic foresight process, which is also new. As a kind of basis to establish strategic fields that we are going at. On the other side, we are kind of lab. Why a lab? Because we test agile methods for the ministry. We also use agile methods for participatory processes. As I said, for example, strategic foresight, but also for policy making. And I brought you one example to make it a little bit more concrete. For example, we did the platform thing with the instrument of the labs. Means we invited to participate to a design thinking process for 2 days. And we had a group of around about 40 people. We did split it into 2 parts. And they really established something like a prototyping for the question, how do we deal with the question of platforms? And it was a very diverse group. So we had platform workers, platform entrepreneurs, we had lawyers, we had social partners. And due to the issue that we had this exchange of perspectives, it was really a great experience for everybody. And the result was very, how can I say, everybody was convinced about the results. Independent of if they were entrepreneurs or if they were platform workers. So they due to the change of perspective and the common prototyping, they managed to create a common result that convinced everybody in this group. And this is, if you know the usual processes, how a law is designed, it's very, very different. But it was, for us, it was also like an experiment to try out if we can do this process with agile methods. And it was very interesting and it was very convincing. So in details, 4-day future labs already around about 2 years ago. And I think, let me mention this, we had experts, we didn't have organizations. And one thing that we also tried was the approach of theory U from Otto Scharmer. And for us, we used the 2 approaches, so design thinking and theory U, also to try out which approach works better for us, or maybe also to define our own method, which fits better for the needs of a ministry. What we also did, we established within the last 12 months a group of Agile Coaches. Because we have, as you probably know, it's not that easy to hire a coach from outside. It's very bureaucratic. It takes a lot of time to do this. And from a change management perspective, I think it's always easier to establish your own competences for change inside. So what we did is we motivated people to apply for a program that we called Agile Coaches developments, around about 12 months of duration. And we had many, many applications. And now after 1 year, we have a group of 17 Agile coaches from at 40 administration, and they really group together as a kind of team. They are in different divisions in the ministry, so they are from an organization point of view, they are not one team, but they created a kind of peer group with respect to the agile mindset. And this is doing something with our organization, and they are also requested for strategic planning, for project ideas, and so on. And so now we are discussing how we can establish it, how we can sustain also this power of this group, and maybe even establish a second group of agile coaches that might start within the next month. So we want to raise awareness. We want also to apply the agile methods and make them tangible for all colleagues that want to try, because of course you don't have to, but you can try it out. And of course, we want to contribute to the further development of work and methods in the ministry. Yeah, and maybe also give a kind of guidance how this change process within the ministry might work. We had some interesting lessons learned, and let me close with some lessons learned that might also be interesting for you. So I used agile methods a lot in my former work life, to say so. And one big difference that I found in the ministry is that if we as a ministry participate in agile workshops, for example, we have to clarify our role. Because many people, of course, think we can give money, we can fund projects and so on. And if they go with this expectation in a workshop, it doesn't work. So different to what I experienced before, we discovered that we have to clarify our role if we participate in this kind of projects. Then we have to formalize the standards, because we are a very, very formalized organization. So I think it's a kind of expectation management if we formalize the standards. We have to be very aware this is a really huge change management process. This is nothing new for you, but change management is nothing inside the organization ministries are used to. So I think also here we have to grow into a kind of change management approach and do this professionally, starting with being aware this is a change management process. Politics must be shaped differently. I think, yes, I have been a user of policies for 20 years. Uli said it, I was an HR person. So I was a user for politics. And I think it doesn't work for all areas, but I think in many areas, it would be a good approach to integrate the user perspective into a politics process. And I think we have different areas where we at least can try this out without having a huge risk of doing this. And sorry, to make this also very clear, I think it doesn't work in any areas. If we have to pay money to people, of course, this has to be in time. So we have areas that are totally against risk taking, but we have other areas where we can try it out. One huge problem that we don't have any capacities really to build this up. And I think this is something we have to think about also in the next legislature, how we can build up these capacities, because we need the know-how, we need more know-how inside, and we have to give free space also to our people to work, for example, as agile coaches. So this was a very quick walk through our experiences. I'm looking forward very much to listen to your experiences, and Uli, so in this sense, I would like to give back to you. Thank you.